Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with yet another box set that for some reason is still available some years after it was issued. I just am so surprised at what these things are. It is Myung-Whun Chung, Musique Française, a collection of his French music recordings on Deutsche Grammophon. Not all of them, not actually even probably the majority of them. Well, there's a good bit of them here. It's 11 discs worth of stuff. And it really interests me. This is one of those, you can see from here, it's one of those Italian universal things. So we know it comes from Italy, and it's still out there, even though Myung-Whun Chung has all but vanished from the music scene. Now, I know some of you will say, no, wait, don't, he hasn't vanished. He's actually made quite a few records in Korea for Deutsche Grammophon, including things like Mahler symphonies, which I've heard and which are not very good at all, quite frankly, and a whole bunch of other things, including some French music, I believe, as well. But they have not received international distribution. At this point, his career seems to have largely gone local. I could be wrong. Maybe he's somewhere. But since the implosion of the major labels in the classical music world, a lot of conductors who they were recording pretty regularly have just gone poof. And Chung is a poof. Much as I hate to say it, because he's quite talented. He made some really beautiful records, some of which are in here. And so we're going to go through it, and I'm going to tell you what they are. It really fascinates me, really. I mean, that these things get boxed up. I mean, who's running around looking for Myung-Whun Chung boxes? I mean, really, who is? But it was actually a good idea to put a lot of these things together in a box and see if they can, like, sell it. Because what else is it doing sitting there doing absolutely nothing useful in the catalog or vault of Deutsche Grammophon? They might as well try and sell the stuff. And so here it is. And you can decide when we're done whether you feel that this is worth considering for your own collection if you don't have all of the things that are in it already. We start with a typical Bizet disc. Carmen Suite, L'Arlésienne Suites 1 and 2, and Jeux d'Enfants. This is all with most of these are with the Orchestra de la Bastille. Yeah, the good old Bastille Orchestra. And I mean, you know, it's Bizet, it's Carmen, it's decent. It's not like Markevich, it's not thrilling. That's a name that we will be talking about quite a bit in these recordings, actually. It's good, it's decent. In fact, all of this stuff is decent. There's nothing here that's, well, there may be one thing that's kind of bad, but you'll see what that is in a second. Next, the Berlioz Symphony Fantastique and Henri Dutilleux's Métabole. Now, I love Métaboles. I think Métabole is fabulous. Métabole, in case you're wondering what a métabole is, it's metabolism. I mean, that's the word. It is an evolutionary series of variations in which one idea is gradually deformed until it becomes the other idea. The part of the next section. And the sections all have names. They are incantoire, which is, incantation like, and then let's see, what's this one? Linéaire, like lines. Obsessionnel, which is a passacaglia that's really fun, which is quite obsessive, and then torpide, which is kind of just lays there, and then flamboyant, the finale. It's exciting as all hell. It was commissioned by Zell and the Cleveland Orchestra, who gave a bang-up live performance of it, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful work. It's about 20 minutes long. I mean, Dutilleux was such a great composer, and this is one of his masterpieces. He only wrote masterpieces, actually, after about 1955, so there you have it. And then the Symphonie Fantastique. This is a very good Symphonie Fantastique. Chung he's not a powerhouse conductor. He's a lean and lyrical conductor. He's very, very good at sustaining long lyrical lines. And this Fantastique is not the most insane that you'll ever hear, but it's very well played. It's very cohesive. It's nicely put together and it flows. I enjoy it very much. Next, there's more Berlioz, 3 overtures, Benvenuto Cellini, whatever you want to call it, the Roman Carnival, and the Corsair. Now, I'm spoiled for Corsairs because there's Munch and there's Beecham, and then there's everybody else. And Chung is not Munch and he is not Beecham. But the overtures are fine, and then you get a very good Harold in Italy. It's Harold in Italy with Laurent Vernet, viola, and again, it's the Orchestra de l'Opéra Bastille, which is similar to Orchestra de la Bastille. I guess they change depending on what day of the week it is. But it's also very good. The Harold in Italy is a very fine performance. And, these are performances you'll see of these pieces. They're repertory standards, the Symphonie Fantastique, the Harold. I've done talks on all these pieces. I left out any mention of these because, quite frankly, they weren't available anymore. And I just plain forgot about them. And that doesn't mean they aren't good. They're very good. In fact, the Fantastique is quite memorable, actually. But when it came to making my list, I have the singles of these. They're in the overflow room, and so I just didn't pull them out. But these Berlioz recordings are worth having. But then he did the Damnation of Faust, and I'm not such a fan of his Damnation of Faust. I think it's underplayed. I really do. And the soloists, people bitch and moan about how, well, they're not authentically French, and they're not. But we're not going to get that, so that's not a legitimate concern. But, Mephistopheles is Bryn Terfel, and Faust is Keith Lewis, who's only average, Faust-wise, and Marguerite is Anne-Sophie von Otter, who is her usual rather cool self. She's accurate, she's cool, but boy, she doesn't have any of the necessary sort of fragility that Marguerite needs to have, or I think warmth also, that sort of human warmth and sadness that just sort of drips out of her, like when she sings the King of Thule aria, which is one of the most beautiful things in the history of vocal writing. It's so gorgeous, you just want to die. That's how beautiful it is. And I just get a sense that, she's always very sincere, but she's not in this. She's not in this with her full heart. And as far as Chung goes, again, the performance is lithe and nimble, and it has a nice flow, but the big moments, they're just not there. The Chorus of Demons in Hell, again, I have to mention Markevich. You cannot listen to the Chorus of Demons after you've heard Markevich do it, because he gets the men of the choir to sing like demons. And what is wrong with that? Why do these people try and sing Berlioz's nonsense syllables? Because that's all the thing is. It's supposed to be, the hellish language. And they're singing, Maracaibo, yeah, that's in Venezuela. But you know what I mean. Maki, Ixti, Fatsi, Dutsi, Hootsi, Coochie, Poochie, Woochie, have some fun with it. And sing it nasty. Make it sound a little rough, No, it's all way too polite. It's just too polite. And so there you go. Then we get the Saint-Saëns Organ Symphony, which is quite well done. It's a very good organ symphony. Another one. The trouble is there's too much competition. It's not Munch, it's not Barenboim, it's not Paré, it's not Ormandy, it's not... You always think about what it's not. But if you just put that aside for a minute and think about what it is, it's a very beautiful performance of the organ symphony. And it's coupled with Messiaen's L'Ascension, which is very well done, because Chung was a very good Messiaen conductor by and large. Then we get the disc that had the Fauré and Duruflé Requiem, or whatever they're called, Requiems. The Requiems with Cecilia Bartoli Mezzo and Bryn Terfel. And you'd think that would just be fantastic, wouldn't you? Well, it's a botched job. Sonically, the Fauré, first of all, is just boring. It's slow and it's dull and it's heavy because it's with the Santa Cecilia Orchestra and the Coro dell'Accademia Nazionale di Santa Cecilia, and they you can't hear them. They're like you wouldn't know that they're from Santa Cecilia. They're more like from Santiago, as in Chile. They're so far away. The sound is just a mess. The Duruflé has some very exciting moments, like the big climaxes and whatnot, but it's all just a big muddle. Terrible. I remember when I first heard it. I remember when it came out. This I remembered. I remembered because the sound was so bad. And all I could think of was oh, what an opportunity. You get these fabulous soloists. It should have been terrific. And it's just, blech. So, blech. Then we get Ravel's Daphnis and Chloé. This is one of the all-time great Daphnis and Chloes. Go read our review on classicstoday.com. It is a knockout Daphnis and Chloé. It really is. It's just fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. You can hold its own with any Daphnis and Chloé out there. I mean, the nasty passages in the pirates' camps it's just exciting as hell. And you know Dorcas's dance of doofusness, or whatever the hell that thing is. It's just wonderfully grotesque, and all the languid, gorgeous moments, dawn and sunrise. Oh yeah, it's just so beautiful. Absolutely glorious and wonderfully recorded. Probably the best thing Chung ever did with the Bastille folks. It's just great, except it's not with the Bastille folks. It's with the Orchestre Philharmonique de Radio France. Maybe that's why. I don't know, but it's a stunner. It's fantastic. Okay. Then we get all Messiaen is the rest of it. It's not all of his Messiaen, but it's all the rest of the stuff in here is Messiaen. First, the Turangalîla Symphony, variously known as the Turangalîla Symphony, the Temecula Symphony, the Tarantula Symphony. The Turangalîla, I love Turangalîla. I have to talk to you a little bit about Turangalîla, because we need to talk about another rare percussion instrument, because this whole week has been tam-tams and glockenspiels and Sibelius. And, well, now I want to talk to you about the cymbale chinoise, the Chinese cymbal, which is a fascinating instrument, and you hear it all over the place in the Turangalîla Symphony. And a lot of you might have wondered, maybe you didn't. I don't know. I don't care. I'm telling you anyway. What is that interesting percussive sound? Well, let me show you, because I just love doing this part. Oh, this is so much fun. All right, here is your normal cymbal, right? A normal suspended cymbal. And a normal suspended cymbal sounds like this. Right? Just hit it with your little soft sticky, and you get just a lovely swooshy sound. It's quite beautiful. It really is. Now, a Chinese cymbal is actually a cymbal made in China, as you might imagine, but the kind of cymbals we use in the symphony orchestra are Turkish. Those are Turkish cymbals, crash cymbals and suspended cymbals. They're all Turkish in origin. A Chinese cymbal looks like this. Look at this. See, it has this round thing on the top, and it's shaped kind of like a pie plate, but with an upturned rim. It's kind of like a hat. One of those hat things. You could wear it if you want. It's quite handy. And you actually do clash them together. You can do that actually with these things. But in pop music, they're quite popular. They're quite popular in rock music. They affix them upside down to a stand, and they're played with drumsticks, with hard snare drumsticks mostly. But the reason that they're so popular is because they have a sound in the pop music world which is known as trashy. They are trashy, dirty. Because listen to that sound. Remember, let me do this as a comparison so you can hear this in real time. Here was our suspended cymbal. Yes, right? And here is our Chinese cymbal. Listen to that. I mean, isn't that fascinating? Isn't that really, really cool? I mean, it has a totally different sound because of, obviously, the geometry of the instrument, the physics, and the material that it's constructed of, the alloy, and the way that it's milled and lathed and all the things they do to it. But that is a Chinese cymbal. You could also play it upside down. It sounds like a sort of more closer to a tam-tam, a Chinese tam-tam, It sounds like that, only higher. Because that was the original Chinese cymbal type sound. And Messiaen uses it quite frequently in the Turangalîla Symphony, especially at the end of the first movement. Here, for example, is the Chinese cymbal solo at the end of the first movement. See? That's this thing. That's just this thing. It just goes. boom, Chinese cymbal. Now, that performance that I played you, by the way, was Anthony Witt on Naxos, because I don't have permission to play Myung-Whun Chung on Deutsche Grammophon. But actually, there is method to my madness, because the real problem with this Turangalîla is that it's just too nice. It's not dirty or trashy enough. It doesn't have enough color. It's very lyrical, but it has very little impact. I was very disappointed when this came out. Of course, Messiaen was still alive then, and he wrote some, oh, it's fabulous, it's the right sound, everything is perfect. Well, that's what he said about every performance of his works. So do not take his word for it, because Anthony Witt is better, Chloé and the Concertgebouw are better, Ozawa and Toronto are better, Previn with the LSO are better. I mean, you're a lot of much better Turangalîla symphonies. Again, this is not bad. No way is it bad, but fabulous it is not. But look at the bright side. At least you now know how Chinese cymbals work. So that was that. Next we've already had a very, very good L'Ascension. Then we get the Trois Petites Liturgies de la Présence Divine. Oh, that's fun. The words are so stupid. I mean, Messiaen usually writes his own texts, or he borrows them from some weird mystical something or other. I mean, do they have them here? Sometimes they do. No, they don't. What a pity. Boy, are they silly. So glad that you can't understand a word of it. But they are fun pieces. And it is an offshoot of the Turangalîla Symphony. It's kind of like the Turangalîla Symphony's Roman Catholic sister, if you want to think about it that way. And it uses an on Martineau, going, woo, all that stuff is in there. So it's just wonderful. And it's lovely to have another performance of these works, because they aren't performed that often. It's for female choir and percussion and pianos and strange ensemble. And then, let's see, what else do we get? The Colors of the Celestial City, which is a lovely work, and the Hymn for large orchestra. And finally, Messiaen's last major work, Éclairs sur l'au-delà, which is Illuminations of the Beyond. I saw the premiere of Illuminations of the Beyond in New York. And actually, Éclairs sur l'au-delà, we were calling it Éclairs and la-di-da, Messiaen's hymn to the glory that is French pastry. Éclairs and la-di-da. And this is a very good performance. There are no bad ones of Éclairs and la-di-da. It's just fine. Now, he actually did more Messiaen, which is not in here. He did From the Canyons to the Stars, which is an excellent performance. And he also did La Transfiguration de Notre Seigneur Jésus-Christ, which is practically unlistenable, as it's a completely insane piece of religious music for huge, massive orchestra and crazy percussion and male choir, and it goes on for like 2 and something hours, and you can skip it. You really can. I mean, you have to be in the mood, as I said I said it about somebody else recently. Delius, wasn't that the guy? Yeah, you have to be in the mood to listen to La Transfiguration de Notre Seigneur Jésus-Christ. I love saying the title. Listening to the music is a whole nother matter. But anyway, that's the box. Good Saint-Saëns, 2 really good Berlioz works, decent Bizet, fantastic, excellent Dutilleux, Fauré and Duruflé, unbelievably great Daphnis and Chloé. I'm not kidding. And except for the Turangalîla, which is good but not stellar, excellent Messiaen. That's the box, and you'll know if you want it or not. It's nice to have it together. Just love the picture. Oh my, doesn't that just say, come and listen to me? You wonder what these people are thinking. You just have to wonder. Could it possibly be less inviting? I mean, really? What can I say, folks? Keep on listening. Thank you for joining me. Take care.